Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and in today's video I want to have a discussion about the death of the internal combustion engine and the rise of electric vehicles. So let's get to it. I personally think that this is actually a revolution in the car industry as opposed to an evolution. And let me explain why. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on y'all and give you the definition of Merriam-Webster's dictionary of both those two words. Evolution is a process of continuous change from a lower, simpler, or worse to a higher, more complex or better state. In comparison to that, the definition of revolution is a sudden, radical, or complete change. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking and you're saying,
well, simply changing the internal combustion engine and gas-powered vehicles is just an evolution of the car industry.
But this is actually a revolution because we're changing not just the engine itself, but the way cars are manufactured, the way mining processes work, and the effects that has not only on the environment, but also on people's work and their livelihood. An evolution for me would be making high horsepower vehicles with less cylinders, maintaining great gas mileage for high performance cars, or even simply put, just navigation and wireless CarPlay in cars, making it more joyful and easier to travel and drive with. Those are the types of things that I consider an evolution. Basically building upon the building blocks of cars, making things better with small little incremental improvements. This is not that. This is definitely a revolution. And I'm gonna give you a couple of reasons why I think that way. Number one, not everyone is going to agree with going full electric, but it's hard to argue with it. Performance out of electric vehicles is insane, and the amount of speed and performance that you get out of it is mind-blowing. Just to show as an example, a Hellcat Red Eye can hit the quarter mile in about 10.6 seconds. A Bugatti Chiron, I can't say it. How do you say it? A Bugatti Chiron can hit the quarter mile at about 9.6 seconds, and a Tesla Plaid can do it at about 9.3 to 9.4. That is insane, especially coming from a car that costs a fraction of the price of that Bugatti. That's a lot. And that's a lot of a performance that it's hard to argue with. Again, not everyone is going to agree that electric cars is the solution, especially coming from car enthusiasts. People like you and I, or car enthusiasts, love to hear our engines. We like to hear the engine roar and scream and audibly hear the speed as we go. On top of that too, rowing through your own gears is another experience that can't be replaced in electric vehicles. And don't you dare tell me that paddles count as a manual, because it doesn't. Flippy flappy paddles don't count, and if you think it does, shame on you. But putting numbers aside, driving an electric vehicle is definitely different than driving in an engine. And that's for multiple reasons, because you don't audibly hear yourself going quick, you just feel the speed. And I feel like that's a revolution in sports car driving. We're moving from something that we are so used to something completely different. That's another reason why I think we're in a revolution. Now, reason number two why I think this is a revolution is because we're literally moving away from dinosaur exploding powered vehicles to full electric cars. We're literally seeing the gas powered vehicles die off as we progressively get into a more electrified future. As an example, a lot of sports car manufacturers are moving their gas powered cars to potential hybrids to even full electric vehicles. Look at the Acura NSX. It was a hybrid. It got a little bit of heat for that at the very beginning, but it's hard to argue with it. It's a V6 with turbo, and it also has electric motors to help propel it to the speeds it needs to get to. It's combining two different technologies in gas and electric to show the performance numbers. So this is kind of the way that people are seeing the future, especially for car manufacturers. Another example would be for Mazda. Mazda has stated that by 2030, they're going to be electrifying their entire lineup, which also includes the Mazda Miata. Can the Miata be full electric? Is it gonna go the hybrid route? We don't know, but it's definitely something the car manufacturers are looking forward to moving forward. There's definitely a want and a need for electric vehicles now, which is slowly killing off the gas-powered cars that we have, as well as the manual transmissions. Now, reason number three, which I think is a pretty hot topic in terms of this being a revolution as opposed to an evolution, is the actual manufacturing process of the vehicles and mining of the parts necessary to produce electric vehicles. Now, without getting into the itty-grittiness of electric vehicles on the environment, I did find this article here from the Institute of Energy Research that discusses the implications of lithium mining. Mining of lithium or extraction of lithium is actually very labor intensive. It takes about 500,000 gallons of water to mine per metric ton of lithium. So according to this article, in Australia, only 2% of the country's 3,300 metric tons of lithium-ion waste is recycled. Unwanted MP3 players and laptops often end up in landfills where metals from the electrodes and ionic fluids from the electrolyte can leak into the environment. This is a hot topic for debate of gas versus electric and on environmental factors, but it's just something to keep in mind. And on top of that too, a lot of this new technology is unproven. Gas-powered cars have existed for decades, and it's been a proven technology that's been around for a while. A lot of new constructed homes nowadays are pre-wired for electric vehicles. They even have stations that are ready to be hooked up on the fly. Gas stations are more likely to have charging stations for electric vehicles now. And to an even greater extent, California itself has already stated by 2035, all vehicles who are going to be sold brand new will be zero emission vehicles, basically killing off gas-powered car sales by the year 2035. This is a drastic measure. And remember, a revolution is something drastic, dramatic, and sudden, and just completely different. And completely eliminating one type of car is definitely on the revolution scale. Now, moving along to how car manufacturers are going about this, we can just look at the sales numbers. Remember, these manufacturers are doing this as a business first. So let's take a look. As an example, take a look at what Porsche is doing. Porsche has the Porsche Taycan, or is it Taycan? I can't say fancy, expensive car names. Forgive me. The Porsche Taycan, which is their sports model of electric vehicle, has actually outsold their 911, which is the pinnacle of driving experiences. Let's take a look at the numbers. Now, according to this article on Motor Trend, it shows that the Porsche Taycan EV grabbed about 41,296 units sold worldwide, edging just ahead of the 911's 38,464 in sales. That is insane. Essentially what this tells me is that there's a want and a need for an electric sports car. Now, people are buying up these EV Taycans in comparison to the 911, which is Porsche's breadwinner when it comes to sports vehicles. That's a sign of the times. There's a want for these cars. People are preferring electric vehicles over a gas-powered 911. It literally tells you that we're moving away from gas-powered cars and into an electric future. Porsche is not the only one who's doing this. Take a look at what Ford's doing with the Mustang.
Well, yeah, the Mustang is not really a Mustang, though. It has an electric motor. It's not a real Mustang.
Yeah, true, but it still has the Mustang badge. So I'm gonna treat it as the Mustang. Look at the sales of that. Based on this article that I found from Insider, nearly half of the Mustangs Ford sold in November of last year, which was 2021, were electric. That shows you, and that tells you, that people are preferring these electric vehicles. I mean, there's a reason why they're making them. It's because people want them. If you are a business executive for one of these top manufacturing companies and you are in the business of making money, what incentive do you have to create these gas-powered vehicles if the sales of electric variants are going to be much higher? Car manufacturers don't have an incentive anymore to make gas-powered cars, only if it's for the enthusiasts. And that's something that, as a car enthusiast myself, is hurtful. Because personally for me, I love my cars fueled by exploding dinosaurs. That's just my personal opinion. But car manufacturers are moving away from that, and we have a future of just pure electrification. Now, there are a couple of manufacturers who are still providing great, excellent powered gas cars. I mean, M3s, M4s, M5s, those are all still gas powered. You still have Toyota 86, the Supra, all of those are gas powered. There's always something out there for everyone, but we're literally seeing the revolution happen before our eyes. We've moved so quickly into hybrid vehicles, into electric vehicles, literally in the last 2 decades. It's very, very shocking to see. Now, it's not like going from a regular car to a flying car, but of course, electrification is the future, and that is reflected through the sales of all the cars that have been sold. Okay, Justin, is it all doom and gloom moving forward?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All jokes aside, guys, it's not all doom and gloom. I do have some enthusiasm for some electric cars, primarily the Tesla Roadster. Now, this thing looks great. It looks amazing. It looks like an ultra car, basically. It can hit 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds with a top speed of more than 250 miles per hour. That is insane. That's a lot of performance for an electric car. Is it going to be as invigorating as hearing a V8 or a straight 6 scream down the quarter mile? Probably not. but the performance numbers speak for themselves, and that's something that has to be experienced in person. Now, am I looking forward to all electric cars? No, not so much. I mean, there's certain cars that I wish just stayed gas powered, like a Miata. But again, it's hard to fight with the future. It's hard to argue with the future. What can we do to prevent this from happening? Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything we can do because the sales numbers are reflecting what's going to be moving in the future. Whatever sells turns into what gets made. And because the demand of electric cars is only increasing, gas-powered vehicles are going to be left on the wayside and on the side of the road. I personally think, as a car enthusiast, what we can do is basically enjoy the cars that we have out now. Take the vehicles that you love when you were a child, seeing grow up, and preserve those cars. Build those cars, keep them, drive them, enjoy them. Because in the not so distant future, those cars are going to cease to exist. And we might not even be able to power those vehicles if gas stations don't even exist anymore. They're simply going to be relics of an old time, and even a lawn ornament if we literally can't power these cars. These are vehicles that I saw on the road growing up. So purely moving from something like that into pure electric is a different experience, for better and for worse. I want to hear what your opinion is. Do you look forward to electric cars? Do you think this is merely an evolution or a revolution? I'm curious to know what you guys think down there in the comments. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to follow me, feel free to subscribe. It's free. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, respect your elders. Peace.